Joining us now is one of the stars of the touring Broadway musical Wicked, coming to the Wharton Center in East Lansing, Christian Thompson. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, and we'll be anxious to welcome you to Michigan. Have you played Michigan yet?
Not with this tour. I actually was on the 20th anniversary of Rent, and I think I actually went through East Lansing with that. So excited to be back.
Awesome. Well, I've seen that you've had quite a few roles, and it sounds like this is one that you were really looking forward to. What was it about this part and Wicked that you really wanted to be a part of?
I have so many things. I think the big part is that myself and my mom grew up. Well, I grew up, and my mom loved this show. We've been fans of this show since it first came out. My mom was a big Wizard of Oz fan, so I grew up a big Wizard of Oz fan. So that alone was massive for us. But I think the other part is this role in particular of Fiyero is just such a fun role. It's got, I think, one of the best numbers in the show and Dancing Through Life. But at the same time, he also has a great arc to start as this carefree character and then to learn the importance of standing up for yourself and for others. It's a lot of fun to dive into every night.
Now, preparing for the role, had you seen any of the other previous actors in this role or the movie?
Oh yeah, well, movie hasn't come out yet, so I'm excited for that. But as a super fan, I saw the show far too many times. We're talking multiple in the double digits amount of times I've seen the show since it, premiered 20 years ago. So I was fortunate enough to see a good handful of the actors before me that have played the role, and I'm excited to join the ranks.
It's always interesting to me for someone that, like you, growing up in South Florida, to end up in a Broadway touring show and also do shows in New York and on Broadway. How does someone make that trip? How does someone get to a show like Wicked or another Broadway show, starting out in a town like Fort Lauderdale?
Sure. I think the first thing they do is they invest in a heavy coat because the cold is it's just different. Uh, so that's the first thing. No, in all honesty, I think it's always true when people say it takes a village. I was fortunate enough to learn from, I think, some of the best teachers. I had some of the best mentors and people in my life. From when I started in elementary school, I decided to be an actor when I was 8 years old because I was at a performing arts elementary school, and to middle school, to a private high school, American Heritage, in Plantation, Florida, all the way through college. I went to Penn State, so that was my first jump north, um, into Big Ten territory. But I went to Penn State for musical theater and I trained there. So for me, it was always kind of a logical thing. It was what's the next step? Where can I find my training and better all the tools that I have in my toolbox? From there, I moved to New York and immediately jumped on a cruise ship. I did that for a while, and then like I said, I did the national tour of Rent. So it was kind of constantly trying to find where the next gig was and where the next learning experience was going to be. And then I was fortunate enough to be a part of the original Broadway cast of Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations, where I played Smokey Robinson and Damon Harris. And that was an absolute dream come true. But it was always about putting one foot in front of the other, and trying to show up with my best self, both as a person and as an actor.
I noticed on your social media you had a lot of people when you got the role in Ain't Too Proud, that your friends noted that you were always a big fan of the Temptations. So that must have been fun to be able to be part of a show like that.
Oh, it was incredible. I've been so fortunate with not only just my career in general, but also the shows I've been a part of. they've all been so very personal to me. So that's been just honestly just a humbling, kind of embarrassment of riches. But yeah, to be able to play Smokey Robinson, to meet Smokey Robinson, it was was surreal to say the least.
Your press notes call you a multi hyphenated performer, actor, singer, dancer, and writer. So that means you get paid 4 times as much as anyone else, right?
Well, hopefully, sometimes, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're still working on all of those pay bumps. But yeah, I think one of the things I've been fortunate about, and I think something that's helped my career is being multifaceted. I think we're now in a stage where it's not enough to just be one thing. I think it helps if you can really hone as much of the talent that you have. I've just started adding writing to this process, to this multi-hyphenated career. But I'm very excited about it, and it's been doing some very fun and interesting things as of late.
Well, the Wharton audiences are really excited about Wicked coming and wrapping up the season. Tell us a little bit about the role of Fiyero and how he interacts. What's his relationship with the good witch and the bad witch?
Sure. So Fiyero is himself a prince and a transfer student at the university. And he, of course, meets our two witches and is kind of the romantic interest for both of them at different points in the show. So that's really his main thing in the show is he's kind of a romantic interest, but he also helps along the story in a bunch of other ways as well.
You're pretty willing to share some behind the scene secrets on your Instagram. You have a question and answer deal. Ask me about Wicked. What are some of the questions you're getting about the show?
They honestly run the gambit. I mean, it can be anything as kind of basic as what's your favorite scene or what's your favorite costume, which also varies the longer I'm with the show. Um, and then one time I had a Q&A that simply was like, it's not really a question, but did you know your zipper was down in this scene? Um, and I did, and I'm glad you noticed as well. So it's been quite an interesting journey on the question and answers.
There's not someone in the wings that's going to tell you that your zipper's down.
If they can catch it before I can get out, it happened to be a quick change, so it was they just couldn't. It was on me. That was my bad.
You're involved in BIPOC, which it sounds like it's a very important cause for you, in particular, being a person of color in the theater. What have been some of the challenges for you and other people of color in getting roles on Broadway and touring Broadway?
Sure. I think the big thing, especially right now, is that a lot of people of color and people in the BIPOC community aren't seen for roles that aren't considered BIPOC roles. So we're getting better about getting diverse stories out on stage, which is great, and we still have a long way to go as far as that's concerned. But I think the thing that I'm most excited about, and one of the things that fills me with such gratitude and joy about doing a role like Fiyero, is that it's not necessarily written to be a person of color or a BIPOC role, but more so it's about the best person for the job. And for the longest time, that wasn't the case with this role. There have only been a few people that look like me that have taken this role on. So to be able to continue to press forward and see more people of color in this fantasy genre, in roles that don't necessarily have to be a person of color, I think that's what's really exciting, and that's, I think, the new frontier that I think we really can start to see some strides in. And so I'm very thankful that this feels like a step in the right direction, and me being in this role hopefully then inspires the next kid that looks like me to do this role in 20 years, or a different role that they didn't think was possible, but maybe is now because I'm doing this role.
So the writer part of your multi-hyphenated job is something that I know you were able to do at your alma mater, Penn State. You were able to go back, and they actually commissioned you to write. What did you write?
Yeah, so I was super fortunate to be able to go back to Penn State and write for their senior class that just graduated a few days ago. So congrats to y'all. But myself and my writing partner, Maria Wearies, who also graduated from Penn State Musical Theater, we were asked back. And so we wrote a musical called Engaged for their senior class, which is about a not so distant future in which love is our currency, and what happens when two unknowing protagonists find themselves in an adventure to topple this company that runs what we call the love units of this made up city. So it was a lot of fun diving in with these students who are now graduates, into this new musical about love and what it means to share love, what it means to protect your love. So we just got to make this really funky, different musical, and we're really proud of the work the students did. We're proud of the work we did, and we're hoping that it's just the start of this musical's journey.
Awesome. Sounds like it might be on stage someday.
Hopefully.
Well, we are looking forward to having you and the whole company of Wicked come to East Lansing next week. I'm really excited about the show, and I'm excited to be able to see you after talking to you, and look forward to seeing Wicked next week.
Oh, we can't wait to have everybody there.
Appreciate your time, Christian. See you next week.
Hey, thanks so much.
Starring in Wicked, coming to the Wharton Center, Christian Thompson.